Mountains, two hikers walked alone. The year was 1991 and the ice was melting. They saw something dark sticking out of the ice. It was a human back, and then a head, twisted in a strange way. The skin was brown and looked like old leather. It was a still, scary sight under the big sky. This was not a modern man who got lost. This was something else, something very, very old, woken from a long, cold sleep. At first, the police thought he was just a lost mountain climber. They used a loud jackhammer to get him out of the ice, and they hurt the body. But when the smart people in labs looked closer, they felt a chill. They tested the body to see how old it was. The answer was a shock. The man, who they called Ötzi, had been frozen there for more than 5,000 years. He was perfectly saved by the ice, a man from a time we can only read about in books. He was a window to a lost world. He had his clothes, his tools, even tattoos on his skin, but this window to the past held a dark secret, a story that was not peaceful at all. Ötzi did not just fall asleep in the snow and freeze. The real story was much worse. Pictures from a special machine showed a small, sharp stone stuck deep in his shoulder. It was an arrowhead. He also had a deep cut on his hand from trying to fight someone off. Ötzi was hunted. He ran up that cold mountain, bleeding, trying to get away. He died all alone, with his enemy's weapon inside him. For a little while, finding Ötzi was a happy thing for science. But then, a strange quiet started to spread. The people who found him, who touched him, who studied him, bad things started to happen to them. At first, people said it was just bad luck, sad things that happen. But then another person died, and another. Soon, people started to whisper. They said that waking the Iceman had also woken up an old, angry curse. The first to die was a man named Rainer Hen. He was the one who first looked at the body. He was the very first person to touch Ötzi's frozen skin with his own hands. He carefully placed the ancient man into a body bag. Just 1 year later, he was driving his car. He was on his way to a meeting to talk about what he had learned from Ötzi. Another car crashed right into him. He died right there on the road, the first name on a growing list. Next was Kurt Fritz. He was a mountain guide, a man who knew the high, cold places better than anyone. He led the first team to Ötzi's body, showing them the way through the ice. It was Kurt who arranged for the helicopter to come. He helped lift the ancient frozen man from the mountain. Not long after, while leading another tour, a wall of snow and ice fell without warning. It swept him away. He was the only one in his group who died. The pattern of strange ends went on. A writer named Rainer Holzel was the only person allowed to film the recovery of Ötzi's body up close. He stood right there, watching the Iceman leave his tomb of ice. He made a movie about it that many people saw. A few months after it was shown, he became very sick. Doctors found a problem in his brain. It was rare, and it grew very fast. He did not live much longer, but the event that turned whispers of a curse into a true, chilling belief involved the man who started it all. Helmut Simon, one of the two hikers who first found the body back in 1991. In October of 2004, he went back to hike in the same mountains where he found Ötzi. It was 13 years to the day after he and his wife had signed the papers about their find. He went walking alone. He never came back. His family grew worried. The police started to look. For days, the mountains were quiet. The man who had made a famous discovery was now lost in the same cold, empty place. They searched for 8 days. When they found Helmut Simon's body, the sight was deeply unsettling. He was face down in a stream, held fast by ice. He was frozen solid. A search team member said he looked just like a glacier mummy. The cold had preserved him, just as it had preserved the ancient man he found. the man who discovered a 5,300-year-old body frozen in the ice had met the exact same fate. It was a perfect, terrible circle. It felt as if an old anger had waited patiently and had now closed its hand. The chain did not stop there. The cold reached for the man who found the finder. His name was Dieter Varnecke. He was the leader of the mountain rescue team that brought Helmut Simon's body down from the ice just 1 hour after Simon's funeral. As friends and family were saying their goodbyes, Dieter felt a sudden pain. He died of a heart attack. The man who recovered the body of the curse's victim became a victim himself. The echo was getting louder. Some people laughed at the idea of a curse. One of them was Konrad Spindler, the top scientist studying Ötzi. He once told a reporter that the curse was just a silly story. He joked, "The next thing you'll be saying is, 'I'll be next.'" Years went by. The world moved on. Then Konrad Spindler died. He had been sick for a long time, but his death was added to the list. His own words now sounded less like a joke and more like a prediction. What is the real story here? Science tells us these are just sad events. A car crash, a fall, a sickness. These things happen every day. They are just chances, all happening close together. But when you see the names, one after another, the feeling changes. The list gets longer and heavier. It stops feeling like chance. It starts to feel like a plan, a cold, patient plan set in motion thousands of years ago. Now, Ötzi lies in a special cold room inside a museum. He is a thing for science to study. But the story of the curse is what truly lives on. It is his real shadow. It is a quiet reminder that the past is never really gone. We can explain away each death, one by one, but we can't explain away the pattern. We can't shake the deep, cold feeling that when they pulled that body from the ice, they woke something up, and it has not gone back to sleep. Some people will tell you there is no curse. They say these are just stories to scare you in the dark. They will tell you that the world is simple and that bad things just happen sometimes. Science has an answer for everything. The people who died were not all young. Some worked in dangerous places. A man who climbs mountains might fall. A person driving a car might have a crash. These things are sad, but they are not magic. But the number feels wrong. 7 people, all tied to one frozen man. The chain of events feels too perfect. It is like watching dominoes fall, one after another, in a line that was set up long ago. The feeling of a pattern is hard to ignore. And maybe the real curse is not an ancient power. Maybe it is the story itself. It is a quiet idea that plants itself in your mind. It makes you see bad luck as a sign of something more. It turns a shadow into a threat. Imagine being Ötzi in his last moments. He was high on a cold mountain, running for his life. An arrow struck him in the back. He fell into the snow, alone, as the world went dark. His long sleep began with violence and fear. He was not just a body in the ice, he was a person. He carried a special copper axe. He had a little kit to make fire. He had berries he had picked to eat. He was a survivor until the very end. Perhaps the curse is not anger, but a deep sadness. We took him from his silent, icy tomb, where he had rested for thousands of years. We put him under bright lights and behind cold glass. His peace was broken. Almost every old culture has a story like this. A warning: do not disturb the dead. Let them have their quiet. The tale of Ötzi the Iceman feels like one of those ancient warnings echoing in our modern world. The string of strange deaths has gone quiet for now. The headlines have faded, but the Iceman is not back in his mountain grave. He is still an object to be studied, forever kept in a cold, man-made room. And so, the chilling question hangs in the air. Was it all just a terrible run of bad luck? Or is a 5,000-year-old spirit still not at rest? Its cold story a warning that some things are better left buried in the ice.